Good day, folks. Tony Fortunato from the technology firm. Today I'm going to walk you through something a little different like I always do. So this is based on tools and what kind of tools you have, and inline tools to be precise. This is an inline tool I'm going to pick on today, and the customer was very reluctant to do any firmware updates or software updates because he's afraid when the update is applied and the machine reboots, any traffic going through it will be dropped. Now, that's a pretty valid concern, to be honest with you. And he said he's had other tools in the past where that's the case. My question is, did you test this tool? And he says, well, we don't have time. We're too busy, all the regular stuff. And I said, well, let's just do it. By the time you give me the excuses, we'd have done it by now. So this is what we're going to look at right here. So this is tool behavior using ProfitTap's IOTA. And we're going to do a simple test to prove or disprove if it in fact drops packets when it reboots. So the goal here is pretty simple. Is there any packet loss? Now, it's kind of important just to get that out of the way, whatever the goal happens to be, because if you can't get that specific goal down on paper or on a screen, you're going to start to get scope creep. People are going to ask you 20 different things. You could try 20 different things to try to compromise and make them happy, and you're going to end up with nothing. So just get it down and get it done. Now our setup. Setup's pretty simple. Setup's basically my PC's down here. You got a switch. That switch goes through the IOTA to yet another switch where there's a whole bunch of cameras. And the test camera we're going to hit is .31. That's going to be our test camera. But obviously you can try whatever one you want. So from there we need a tool and a methodology. So we're going to use hrping. I've talked about hrping for years. It's a free utility. It's great. Unlike Windows ping command, one thing it can do is that you can adjust the ping interval. Microsoft's ping is hard-coded to a second. You can't change that. So I like to use this tool for that very reason. If you are going to go less than whatever second that you want, I encourage you to baseline your tool with hrping to make sure it in fact does that. For example, if you choose a millisecond, please make sure that it's a millisecond, because some PCs will say 1 millisecond, but if you actually calibrate it with a protocol analyzer, you'll find out it's 2, 3, 5, 10 milliseconds. So make sure. In my case, I know my computer could competently do 500 milliseconds. That's half a second. That is the default for hrping. So I've just left it all alone. 500 milliseconds, half a second. So all I did was I simply started a continuous ping, and I used the display time option for hrping. So I can see the pings, I can see the times. When it stops, I see what time it was. When the pings resume, I see what time it was. I subtract the 2, I got my number. It's that simple. You can do this far more exhaustively than if you want. You can do way better tools than what I'm using, but I figured I'll just use off-the-shelf stuff so people have less of an excuse to actually do it. So my ping here looks like hrping, my IP address, -T for the time, and -lowercase t for continuous. Here's our results, quick and easy. We can see when we rebooted the camera, just a reboot. We wanted kind of a control, if you will. It takes 18 seconds for that camera to reboot and come back online. And again, you can do this with any device you want. I just chose the camera. If you pull and plug in the network cable, so for example, the cable that went off to that other switch, I just unplugged and plugged it in another port. And I want to see how long that takes. Now this all depends how your switch is set up. Do you have port fast enabled or disabled? All that kind of jazz. Spanning tree comes into play. Is it just a dumb switch? Da la 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 la. In my case, I just chose some regular unmanaged switches, and it took 2.5 seconds for it to recover. So I've got, kind of a lay of the land, if you will, how long things take to recover. Then how long does it take to connect that IOTA to a switch? So to actually break the connection and put it in line, and that was 2 seconds. All right. Again, this all depends on your equipment, but that's how long it took for me. And the final test, how long did it take to reboot the IOTA and actually see the packets come back? Well, guess what? I had to drop 1 packet. Now, it's important to use your, I'm going to say, specific terminology around this answer. Since I had a 500 millisecond interval, all I can say confidently is that there was no packet loss recorded less than 500 milliseconds. That's it. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but that's pretty darn close for me. So in my example, rebooting the IOTA, no packet loss, no measurable packet loss, and life is good. So if I did actually apply a firmware update and it rebooted, I wouldn't even notice. So it's a good little test to do with your taps, packet brokers, inline tools of whatever, and find out how they behave so you can keep them up to date. Keep them up to date. I can't stress this enough. Vendors are putting out patches all the time for functionality, for bugs, for security reasons. So please keep your tools up to date. All right, folks, have a good day. Bye for now.